Review from the Ingraham angle segment tonight. Both Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell angry with former Vice President Dick Cheney, who has criticized them in his new book. Ms. Rice saying, quote, "You can talk about policy differences without suggesting that your colleague somehow misled the president. You know, I don't appreciate the attack on my integrity that implies," unquote. Now, we'd like to ask Mr. Cheney about the situation, but he's not making himself available to the factor. You may remember that Cheney would not give us an interview for 8 years while he served as vice president. Somehow, I don't think he likes us. Anyway, since Condoleezza Rice is popular among conservatives, that sets up an interesting dialogue. Joining us now from Washington with her assessment, Fox News analyst, radio talk show star Laura Ingraham, author of the big bestseller, it's doing very well, of The I Zing. And you have Mr. Cheney on your program tomorrow.
I do.
So I want you to be very tough on him. Not because he doesn't come on here, but I think that he's got to answer some questions about Iraq, about the economy and things like that, which I haven't seen.
Wait, I'm taking notes. Wait, okay. I want the questions. Are you, okay.
Look.
I'm going to be tough. I'm always tough. Come on, you saw my interview with Rangel. What do you think? I'm
I
turned into a powder puff?
It's a different Rangel compared to Cheney. You don't like
I'm
Rangel.
tough. I was tough on Rick Perry. I'm tough on it's equal treatment. I've got to try to be equally tough on everyone.
I'm looking forward to hearing that interview because I do think that the vice president has some splaining to do about some of the things that happen. But Condoleezza Rice, you know her? Do you know her, Laura?
A little bit. I've met her a number of times.
I know
had
her.
lunch with her once.
I know
yeah.
her. I think she did a darn good job as Secretary of State. I really do. I think she's honest. She made mistakes like everybody else. And she's really teed off at Cheney. What do you think?
Yeah, reading the book, Bill, the fun with Rice, I think, in the relationship between Rice and Dick Cheney, for me, is about page 478. It's really into the book. But basically, Cheney thinks that she was quite naive in her dealings with North Korea. Remember, at the end of the administration, Condoleezza Rice really wanted to make progress on this North Korea denuclearizing deal, and she wanted to get some progress there, North Korea, on the talks. And basically, Cheney says, look, that might be a laudable goal, but in the end, North Korea was not going to disarm, and this was very naive thinking. And at one point, the president looks to Condoleezza Rice and says, well, do we have any real progress here? These talks, what are they amounting to? And she said, well, we've made a step, basically, but it's just the preliminary step, which was kind of true. And then the president went to Cheney shortly after, and basically the vice president said, there is no progress, and this isn't going to happen.
I don't think anybody objects to
views.
Dick Cheney disagreeing in policy with Condoleezza Rice or with Colin Powell or anybody else. I mean, that's what happens in every administration.
He basically thinks they're not realistic, though. I think he thought they wanted kind of a trophy
but the
at
way
the end of the
he
administration.
frames it is condescending to Secretary Rice. He is a really smart guy, and I think he's like a lot of smart people. Gets kind of impatient with people who he thinks aren't as smart as he is, or then
aren't
he should
as
interview
quick
with me.
on it.
I'm not nearly as smart as he is.
Yeah, well,
he could get impatient all day long with me.
Yeah,
and it would be a catharsis for him.
But look, when I'm reading this book, I don't think anyone who has a view of Cheney as Darth Vader and really tough, as smart but really tough, is going to think anything different about Dick Cheney. I mean, the memoirs, to some extent, often are score settling, right? It's about score settling.
I don't think Cheney wanted to settle scores against Rice, I have to say. I don't think maybe against Colin Powell, but I don't think he wanted to.
Well, I don't know what was so offensive. I don't know what was so offensive, though. Yeah, he said she came into the office tearfully.
If I were Rice, I would have been angry. I would have been angry. Now.
Yeah, well, she can write her own memoir about her own time in office. Remember, her book was more about her childhood, which I enjoyed very much. I thought it was a great read. But she has her chance to make her own statement on this, and I'm going to be looking forward to reading that.
Okay. Now, new poll, Fox News poll, by the way, asks this question. Should Sarah Palin run for president? 20%, yes. 74%, no. What do you think's behind that?
Well, I think a lot of things, and it applies a little bit to the Cheney, Powell, Rice controversy, because while it's interesting to kind of inside the Beltway people and historians and probably to Rice, the country's kind of moved on. And I think we're not really interested in relitigating the past with Bush and Powell and Cheney. And maybe, I'm just guessing, maybe people see Sarah Palin to some extent as, John McCain's running mate, and we like her, and we think she's an energetic force. But since she hasn't gotten into the race yet, we have really important problems in this country, and we want to kind of focus on the people who are putting forth the solutions and offering cogent solutions and willing to run on them. Now, that might change. She might decide to get in the race and change everybody's opinion, but I think the country gets quite fickle.
She's not going to change everybody's opinion if she gets into the race.
I didn't say everybody's, but she could. She could change some opinions.
She's got the highest national negatives in the business. But here's what I think it is, why people said that, particularly conservative Americans. I think they like Michelle Bachmann. And I think they admire Congresswoman Bachmann's moxie and the hard work that she's put in.
Yeah, she has a lot of
because if Sarah
attention
Palin
now.
comes in, that's going to hurt Bachmann. I think that's what a lot of this is all about. I'll give you the last word on it.
But Bill, I also think people move on. They move on kind of quickly in the public arena, and now the focus is on people like Rick Perry, maybe still Mitt Romney, Bachmann, Marco Rubio, Paul Ryan, people who are out there fighting with the war of ideas and fighting hard every day. And I think if Palin wants to get in, I think she could change some people's minds. But until she's as long as she's on the sidelines, kind of doing this dance, I think maybe people are getting a little tired of that. That's only a conjecture on my part.
Okay. We're looking forward to your interview with Dick Cheney tomorrow on the radio, Laura. Thanks very much as always.